I stepped out of the airport terminal, my body still weak from the surgery I'd just undergone. My stomach churned with a mix of nausea and exhaustion. The doctor had warned me it was risky, and now, even though the procedure was successful, I felt fragile. My body demanding care I wasn't sure I'd get. I reached for my phone and dialed my family. "Hey, can someone pick me up?" I asked softly, trying not to sound like a burden. My voice trembled, betraying the fatigue and fear I was carrying. There was a long pause on the other end. Then my sister's voice came, clipped and cold. "Sorry, we're busy." "Figure it out," I blinked, disbelief swelling inside me. "Busy? I just had surgery. Risk of complications, remember?" I tried again, hoping my parents would intervene. "Please, someone, just pick me up." Another pause, followed by laughter from the background. "We've got plans." "You can take a taxi," my brother said dismissively. I felt my chest tighten. I had imagined their faces waiting for me, offering comfort and reassurance. Instead, I was left alone, weak and vulnerable, in a crowded, noisy airport. Strangers bustled past, indifferent, while I clutched my bag and tried to steady my shaking hands. As I moved toward the taxi line, I felt anger bubbling beneath the exhaustion. Their refusal wasn't just inconvenient. It was a cold reminder of how little they seemed to care. My body was healing from a risky procedure, yet my family, the people I had trusted most, had abandoned me at my moment of greatest need. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, "They won't see me break, not today." I struggled to gather my belongings and made my way to the taxi line, each step heavier than the last. My body protested, every movement reminding me of the surgery's intensity. The people around me seemed oblivious to my struggle. No one offered help, no one paused to notice. As I sat in the taxi, gripping the seat, frustration and hurt welled up inside me. I replayed the phone calls in my mind, the dismissive laughter, the casual refusal. It wasn't just neglect, it was a painful message. You're on your own. But instead of collapsing under the weight of betrayal, something inside me hardened. I had survived a risky surgery, faced my own vulnerability, and now faced rejection from the people I had counted on. If they wouldn't be there for me, I realized, I had to be there for myself. The drive home was long, each passing block a reminder that I couldn't rely on anyone else. But with every mile, I felt a shift, anger slowly transforming into resolve. I began making mental notes. Who had failed me, how they had dismissed my needs, and how I could reclaim my strength. By the time I arrived at my apartment, exhaustion pressed down on me, but I refused to sit back and accept their indifference. I unpacked my bag carefully, tending to my needs first. For the first time in a long while, I made a quiet promise. I won't be powerless. I won't be forgotten. And one day, they will see the consequences of their choices. That night, as I lay in bed nursing my weak body, my mind was already racing with a plan. Their rejection would not define me. It would fuel me. I would rise stronger, more independent, and more formidable than they ever expected. The following days were a blur of recovery and self-care. Alone in my apartment, I focused on regaining my strength, both physically and emotionally. I cooked my own meals, managed my medications, and tended to every detail my family had ignored. Each small victory reminded me that I could survive, thrive, without their support. At first, the silence was suffocating. The absence of messages, calls, or visits from my family pressed on me like a weight. But slowly, I began to notice the freedom in that solitude. I could make decisions without interference. I could prioritize my health, my peace, and my plans without being second-guessed. Then came the first spark of resolve. I realized that their neglect was not just a slight. It was a reflection of how they perceived me. They assumed I couldn't handle myself, that I would crumble if left alone. But they were wrong. I was healing, stronger than they imagined. And their absence had only shown me how underestimated I truly was. I began to plan. Not revenge in a cruel sense, but a way to assert my independence and make them realize the cost of their indifference. I would show them that I didn't need their support to survive, and that I could thrive in ways they couldn't ignore. Each day, as my strength returned, I became more meticulous. I documented everything: bills I had paid myself, tasks I had accomplished, progress in my recovery. I was building a record of self-reliance, a testament to the power they had dismissed. By the end of the week, I was ready to face them, not as a vulnerable patient, but as someone who had turned their neglect into my greatest weapon. The time for confrontation, or at least for undeniable proof of my independence, was drawing near. In the days following the confrontation, the impact of my actions became undeniable. My family, once dismissive and indifferent, now looked at me with a mixture of awe, guilt, and newfound respect. The refusal to help me had been their attempt to assert control, but it had backfired spectacularly. I reveled in the independence I had carved for myself. I no longer waited for their assistance or validation. Every small success, handling errands, managing my health, even simple chores, was a reminder that I could thrive on my own. The vulnerability I had once felt at the airport became a distant memory, replaced by a strength they had never seen coming. Occasionally, they tried to reassert their authority, offering unsolicited advice or casual remarks, but I met each one calmly, confidently, and without the old dependency. I had learned that my strength wasn't just physical recovery. It was emotional, mental, and deeply personal. Friends and colleagues noticed the change too. Their admiration and support became a stark contrast to the indifference I had once experienced at the hands of my own family. I realized that true care and respect didn't come from obligation, but from choice. And I had finally surrounded myself with people who truly valued me. Looking back, I understood that the airport incident was a turning point. It had forced me to confront not just my family's neglect, but my own potential. I emerged stronger, wiser, and unshakable. I had turned what could have been a moment of helplessness into a defining victory. That day, I promised myself one thing. Never again would I allow anyone to underestimate me or dictate my worth. I had survived. I had thrived. And I was finally free. Thank you so much for watching this story till the end. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe even learned something from it. If you'd like to hear more stories like this, full of life lessons, drama, and emotions, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss an update. Your support means the world, and it helps me keep bringing you more inspiring and unforgettable stories. Stay tuned because more amazing stories are on the way.